Hey, good evening, Richard. I got a couple of questions. So, first question is now, back on August 27th, we had the rally down at the state capitol, and I heard that you had a petition that you had delivered to the governor's office with some signatures on it. Now, I heard from Stewart Scott B. Smith that an information request was filed with the governor's office, and they claimed that no petitions were ever received. And so I wanted the members need to know, where did these petitions go? Were they received or were they not received? My second question is for as regards to the telework.
Frank, hold on one second, Frank. We can only do one question per caller because this is going to be a short night tonight. So which question do you want me to answer? Your second question or your first question?
Please answer the first question.
Okay, so you want to know the petitions to keep CCC open in Lansing County. You would like to know if those petitions were delivered to the governor on August 27th after the rally, or during the rally, should I say?
Yes. Have you received a response yet from the governor? Because according to Scott B. Smith, the governor's office is saying that they did not receive anything.
All right. So the quick answer is we have not received any response from the governor or from the governor's office. We did walk it in. It's all on video. So I don't know why Stewart Scott B. Smith would say such a thing. They were delivered, and I was in a group of people. And I actually asked for copies to prove that they were delivered on August 27th, and I was told that they would not give me copies. But thanks for your question. Thank you so much. All right, next caller, Jessica. Good evening, Jessica. Thank you.
Sorry, I don't have a question. I was just trying to get your attention because you were talking and we couldn't hear you. Okay. So they were all trying to get your attention.
No problem. Oh, no problem. Well, thanks for coming out tonight. Listen, I was told that this letter I just read, I may have been muted, so I need to read it again. So someone concerned about the CalPERS situation has sent me an email. They wish to remain anonymous, so I'll read it for you really quickly. In a follow-up to our phone conversation this evening, I'm emailing you the settlement notice sent to the CalPERS LTC participants from EPEG, the legal firm representing plaintiffs in the class action lawsuit against CalPERS. Wedding versus CalPERS. Also attached is the CalPERS notice sent a few weeks ago earlier to all LTC participants. I am concerned about contradictions between the two notices that will more than likely result in participants having their policies canceled when they actually intended to continue their coverage. More specifically, CalPERS notice tells participants that they want to remain in the program. If they want to remain in the program and continue their current benefits, no response is required. However, the notice from the class action lawsuit, which is lengthy and includes lots of legal jargon, tells participants near the bottom of page 4, third bullet under section C, that if they do not return the award acknowledgement and election form and exclude themselves from the settlement by September 22nd, 2021, they will be deemed to have selected a policy refund and that their CalPERS LTC policy will be canceled. Further, she says, I'm concerned that many LTC participants will have already read the CalPERS notice and may delay reading the class action notice or not read it at all, thinking that if they do nothing, their coverage will continue. It's regrettable that the notice from CalPERS did not mention the class action lawsuit and its potential to affect participant rights. Unless electing to be excluded from the settlement, it appears there has been a tremendous lack of communication and or coordination between CalPERS and EPEG. Unfortunately, CalPERS LTC participants are going to be the ones who suffer the consequences. Hoping you and SEIU are able to assist in resolving and mitigating this situation to the benefit of all active members and retirees who participate in the LTC program. Thank you again. This is the first of me hearing of this. I'm not sure if we've gotten calls at the MRC about this situation, but this person is quite concerned. If you receive these notices in the mail, please reread them and take the appropriate action. Okay, let's get to the next caller. Alfredo Cortez. Good evening.
Good evening, Richard. I was wondering about your, somewhere on your 6-point plan, you're talking about hiring professional negotiators. What's that going to be the stand for the bargaining negotiating committee? Is they going to be involved in negotiating? Or how's that going to
Oh,
work? Because
absolutely.
we know the most things about our members and what they need. Professional negotiators do not understand what the members need for their contract. And they probably will never read our contract like we read. So I'm afraid they
So
might
I'm glad you called.
negotiate things that, excuse me? Are you,
I'm listening. Go ahead, Alfredo.
so yeah. So I'm wondering what's going on with that public, private negotiators that you want to hire. Where do
All
we
right.
stand?
So you stand where you've always stood. You're not being replaced. So the idea that if we hire some professional negotiators, that the D-Birds and the bunk team from all 10 bunk bargaining units will be replaced, that's not true. So we still haven't hired those negotiators yet. So when you hire professional negotiators, they do read your contract, but they'll need your expertise. So you're not being replaced. And let me be crystal clear. And so we'll be even more clear when we have the SBAC on December 11th and 12th, when we elect our new bunk team and bunk officers. The D-Birds who were elected by our dues-paying membership, their voice and their knowledge will not be ignored. So let me say it for you again. When we hire professional negotiators, they are not taking the place of our bunk officers, our bunk team, or our D-Birds. They're just here to enhance the process with their professional knowledge. They are not here to replace anyone. As someone has reminded me for the last several weeks, Richard, we are a member-ran union. I got the message, but I never failed to forget the message. So yes, that's on my 10-point platform, and I'm glad you asked that question. There's a lot of things being said. And one of the things that are being said is that, the union is not here to serve all represented employees. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. We're here to serve our represented employees. Remember that our dues paying members pay for everything. Without their money, there is no Local 1000. I'm, very aware of that. And so, I'm working with the board, which are the DLC presidents, all 51, along with the 10 bunk chairs. We're working to keep this union vibrant in the state of California. As I love to say, the #1 state in the nation. And we are the #1 public sector union in the state of California. I wanted to address something else really quickly. Someone has asked, where did the $1 million come from that tremendously helped our current governor, Gavin Newsom, win his recall? And some people said, well, it came from the COPE money, but that's not true. That money came from the issues PAC. It didn't come from the COPE PAC. Let me say it for you again. Our current governor successfully won his recall. And we gave $1 million that was voted on June 2nd to SEIU State Council. But that money came from our issues PAC. That came from our dues money. That's what happened. Hopefully I don't have to keep repeating that over and over and over again. We do have 4 PACs. We have a candidate PAC. $1.50 of our money goes to the candidate PAC. For those who don't check off the box on the membership application, $2 goes to the issues PAC. And then we have an independent expenditures PAC. Money from the first two PACs goes to that PAC. And then if you choose to give more money to SAIU International, Washington, D.C., that's called the COPE money. That's the fourth PAC. All right. So I see Richard Wade, DLC President 76, oh boy. Is it 767? 767. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, so, if the money came from the issues PAC, so be it. But one thing we have to keep in mind about this election is this was not like a regular general election where we're donating to a specific candidate through the COPE fund. This was an issue,
Right.
Shall the governor be recalled or not be recalled? So maybe that's why the money came from the issues PAC. Nonetheless, in my opinion, it was still the right thing to do. One thing that that's gonna be desperately needed here in the next legislative session. It won't happen this session, but the legislature is gonna have to do something about the recall. First of all, the amount of money spent on this recall, and then Governor Newsom won, trounced everyone by well over 30%, it looks like. People, the amount of signatures that were gathered was like 1.5 million. That was, these are,
Right.
The way this recall is done was put together before World War I, not II, World War I. So, the governor, while we may disagree with some people, may disagree with some of his policies, I disagree with a few of them. Matter of fact, I didn't vote for him in the primary. I voted for John Chung. I voted for Gavin Newsom in the general election. But, the recall needs to change. There should be at least, it probably, in my opinion, it should be done like something like the way it's done in New York State, where there has to be some evidence of criminal malfeasance or some serious ethical misconduct on the part of the incumbent, which did not happen here. People just disagreed. Okay,
Right.
so if you take a look
Richard,
really quick at the demographics of this election, just on the surface, Republicans did vote no on the recall, which was evidenced by the two congressional districts in Southern California that went red in 2020, but were flipped to blue. And also in some of the counties that Joe Biden won, that threshold was raised also. And the only way that could have happened is if Republicans had voted no on the recall. So it wasn't just
Richard,
Democrats
one quick question.
voted no. It was a wide breadth of people. The bottom line is a recall like this should never happen again. It was a colossal waste of money. And, unfortunately, there's people up in Lassen County that are saying, there was fraud.
Right.
So let me just say, there was no fraud in this election. Whoever's saying that is seriously misguided. There's
Richard,
no fraud in this election. We're not going to go through California's version of Trump's big lie here. Newsom won the election fair and square. It's time for the recall folks to move on and get on with their lives. Thank you.
So, all right. So I'm glad that DLC President 767, Richard Wade, called in and saying that we need to change the rules about recall. So it appears to me that he's basically saying that, it's a good possibility we should have respected the vote of the people from the very beginning when Gavin Newsom won in 2018. That's what it sounds like to me. And then what it also sounds like, he says that we need to address this so that they can't have recalls in the future. He probably makes some great points. Maybe we should have respected the fact that he won the election in 2018 and allowed him to do his job. Some people said that he wasn't doing his job and they thought that he needed to be recalled. So he won the first election, and some people didn't want to respect the vote because they said he was making bad decisions, and now he has won again. And so this is where I have to agree with Richard. We should respect the vote of elections and respect the will of the voters when they vote. So if maybe if we had respected the first election when he won in 2018, then we wouldn't have wasted all that money. But he said something about, he didn't create anything of a great dire need. Well, that's Richard's opinion. People who voted for the recall said that he did create a dire need. Now, we don't want to single out Lansing County or any particular county, whether they voted for the recall or against the recall. In America, we respect people's right to vote. And I think it's fantastic, regardless of how you voted. But because you vote and you exercise your voice in a peaceful manner, that is a blessing. But Richard makes some great points. And hopefully, in the future, we can respect when people vote. I think that's very, very important. Okay. Oh, and here's the other thing that I'm glad that Richard brought up about that the recall is now over. We've been working with Cal HR about this COVID situation. So we've been, working through the mediator, PERB, Public Employment Relations Board, and we have not reached an agreement yet, but it's not because we're not trying. And I know people want me to run off at the mouth about every single thing I'm doing with this interaction or with this COVID situation, because we want everyone to be safe, but we also want people to also feel like they have a voice and that their rights are being protected in this great country. We are working, and now that the recall is over, I still have hope that, Governor Gavin Newsom and myself, we can sit down and hash this out. And I also have hope that the telework, I know everyone wants to know about this telework. Why is it not done yet? It started September 11th, 2020. That's a very interesting date. We all know that to this country. Well, we have not got it done. And I know Cal HR is busy. I know they're watching. I am still here. And the last time we talked, I won't release the details, but the VPs took part of that conversation along with the bunk chairs. And they're not releasing any information because it's a confidential conversation. So I can't release any information either. But I can tell you we are working to make sure we have a uniform, standardized telework policy for all the state agencies. We are working on it. I'm not just coming to work, just laying around on the couch or the chair or wherever that people think I'm doing. That is not happening. We are working on this issue. But, Cal HR does a lot of different things. And Local 1000, even though we're the largest public sector union in the state of California, sometimes they do other things and they, put us on their list of to do. But we are working on this. I've been asked to talk about the salary stipends. We are saving $145,000 a year in salary stipends. None of the officers, including myself, is taking the salary stipend because we volunteered to do this. This is not a job. This is a passion. Okay? You go to, y'all have the jobs. Y'all go to work every day on these jobs. This is a passion. This is not a job to me. This is a passion. So I volunteered for this. And I'm getting my regular salary. Thank you for paying my regular salary plus the 35% for retirement. But none of us statewide officers is taking a salary stipend. And I think that is fantastic. Now, I never extended the union leave. I never extended the union leave for the bunk chairs. And some people have been on union leave who weren't bunk chairs for many, many years. And so, that could have been abuse. So now it comes down to, well, Richard, did you make the right decision by not extending union leave for the bunk chairs? Do you think that maybe some of this work by bargaining chairs 1 or 4 or any of the bargaining chairs, that they may have needed that full-time union leave? Did you make a mistake, Richard? Maybe I did make a mistake. I don't think that I did. And I've reached out to the bunk chairs about full-time union leave regarding this extensive, complex, permanent telework. I said, do y'all need full-time unity to address this issue, to contact the people in your bargaining units so we can have all the details, have all the answers. So whatever the state says, we have an answer for. I'm sure they're going to get back with me. Some of the bunk chairs are so swamped that they have asked me for certain dates because state release time was not enough time. Fair enough. Do I make perfect decisions? Not every day. Am I a perfect person? No, I'm not. All right, we got some more callers, and then we're going to wrap things up here. Michael Gus. Good evening, Michael. She had her. Oh, you want to go to her? Okay. Okay. Jessica, would you like to say something this evening? Jessica?
Yeah, I'm really confused. Whose decision was it for SEIU to use member dues to support Newsom in his battle against the recall? Am I hearing that correctly? We gave him $1 million. Was there a vote for that? I'm sorry, I'm really confused.
No. It's fine. So the $1 million that went to SEIU State Council, that happened on June 2nd, that was a vote by the board. The board of directors voted on that. Now, did they contact all their members of their different bargaining units and DLCs? I don't know. But it was an emergency situation because they felt like, look, if we lose Governor Gavin Newsom, then the world could cave in on us. So they made a quick decision. The board did. But I cannot verify that they contacted all of their, I'm just going to say representative employees because it affects us both, whether we pay money to the union or not. I cannot verify that they contacted their people in their DLCs. And that's why that survey went out a few days ago. Do you know who your DLC president is? When's the last time you talked to him and her? Do they know how you feel about different situations? So I cannot verify that. But it happened really quickly. A decision was made. And, some people were in full support of this. I'm going to be quite honest with you because everybody knows when I was campaigning, I was not in support of this. But here's what I am in support of. To respect the will of the people when they vote. I disagreed with the board on that decision, but they voted. So, I'm going to respect the vote of the board, whether I like it or not. And as Richard Wake, DLC 767 President Richard Wake was talking about the recall situation, maybe if we respect the will of the voters the first time, then we wouldn't have this recall situation and spend all this money on the second shot to only re-verify what happened on the first time. But the key thing is, with the Governor Schwarzenegger, now he won on the recall. So when you open that door up in the past, everybody was in favor of Schwarzenegger. We see how that turned out. I'm done with this issue. Thank you for your call, though. Thank you for your question. Next caller, Darin. Good evening, Darin.
Good evening, Richard, and good evening, everybody here in the meeting. I know last time when you came over to the DMV headquarters, I handed you a fairly lengthy list, and I know you have a lot of stuff going on over there. Want to touch on just a couple of things as far as the CalPERS situation. With what I see going on, ultimately at the end of the day, the folks within our union need to make a decision. If we are relying on leadership to dictate where our votes go, then we have an illiterate votership, if that's what we're waiting on. I'm a huge proponent of folks getting educated on what's going on, getting educated on the issues, doing the research, doing the homework. Stop taking somebody else's opinion for what it is. Second thing is, one of the things that we're talking about is accountability and respecting the votes, and I get all that. One of the things that I still am asking for, and for folks to actually pay attention to, and it does go back to our original votes. We had to spend $300,000 and some change, probably what, $360,000 for a revote way back when.
Right.
And there's some accountability that's due. Regardless, if I hear a lot of folks pushing forward going, oh, well, that was in the last administration. And there's some folks that are trying to push forward and push past that. And when I see that, that basically tells me that some folks have some things to hide. And if we're going to be a true labor union and we're going to have some accountability of leadership, we need to find out who allowed and who pushed things forward to happen the way it did. Because at the end of the day, as union leadership, the board has a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that our union fees and our union dues are being spent adequately and efficiently. And when they screw up and they let somebody make a decision without oversight, then the board members who played a role in that need to be held accountable. That's it for me for tonight. Have a good night.
Okay, well, we want to thank you for your call tonight, Darin. I know a lot of people were upset that the redo election for the VP of bargaining had to happen. That cost us $365,000. There should have been something in place to prevent that, to have prevented that mistake from happening when two of the candidates who ran were not eligible to run. You know, I'm going to stop on that subject because that subject is still not fully addressed, but it will be. All right, so let's go to the next caller, Hugh Allen. Go ahead, Hugh.
That survey you sent out that you were talking about, what is the purpose of that? And is that for the DLC presidents to kind of get out there and mingle with the membership? And when will we as the members find out the results of that survey?
All right, thank you for your call, Hugh. That survey was sent out. I've been asked from the very first day I started to send out a survey asking if people knew who their DLC president was. And I just assumed that everybody knew who their DLC president was. I assumed that they knew that the DLC president or the bunk chair, that the people knew that these people sat on the board of directors. I just assumed that everyone knew this. I was informed that people don't know. We will find out the result of this survey here in a couple weeks. But we will have the result of this survey about the DLC president, about the telework, that's those two surveys. All right. So the next caller, Stephen Alari, DLC president 723, Stephen Alari. Go ahead, Steve.
Good morning.
Go ahead,
Good evening,
Stephen.
Mr. President. Stephen Alari, DLC 723. Just a couple questions. I came in late. Sorry, I was working late tonight. I was just wondering if you have sent a congratulations letter to the governor, and they look forward to working with him now that, you know, we're going forward and with issues that we have that we'd like to address with him. I know you've been trying to meet with him and all, but it might be a good suggestion that send him a thing saying, you know, that, well, what the results were on that. Also, to the caller who called it earlier about sponsor who also state council to oppose the recall. That was important for our membership that we, I guess my internet connection is a little unstable, sorry about that.
It did.
That
Go
that
ahead.
we take a position opposing the recall. And yes, I did talk to my executive board members. Fine, because I do meet with my board members and my DLC membership, but I look forward to working with you and with the union to help better our conditions for our members. Also, in regards to the union leave for the bunk chairs, I think it is very important, especially I know for my unit, Unit 1, that we have a lot of issues that come forward. I know my classification, I'm an investigator for the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. And our people, we've been trying to get a classification change for our people because of our job. We have badges, we don't have guns, but our people are at the front lines when it comes to doing inspections at canvas places, as well as selling cigarettes and that kind of stuff. And I know that Unit 1's been working on that issue, and I know Susan, who is our chair, and even the chair before her, have been working on our issues, and it's really important. We're just one classification out of hundreds that are in Unit 1. We're one of the largest units, and so I would encourage yes to union leave. And thank you very much, Mr. President.
Oh, thank you for calling in. I don't have anything to add behind what DLC 723 President Stephen Alari has just stated. So we'll go to the next caller, Michael Gust. Go ahead, Michael.
Hi, Mr. President. First, I want to correct you from the last time when you claimed I called people little people. Go back and listen to the video. I called your protest little. I walked through it. It was small. There were about 125 people there. I just have, and I walked through it, and I'm calling because I have a question. I had a great orientation meeting with some of the staff that works for this union. And they explained, and I signed up for donating to the COPE Fund, and how people who donate to the COPE Fund get a vote on certain things like endorsements. So if you don't like the way it goes, donate to the COPE Fund, number one. And number two, our union took a position. I walked through that protest that you had in late August. In an SEIU tent, there were yes on recall signs. Everybody knows that at the podium that SEIU paid for, there was a speaker who was wearing a Larry Elder for Governor shirt. Your supporters tell us that we ought to respect the election results of you, but yet you don't respect the election results for the board, and you take actions that are contrary to our policy file and to the stated position of the union by allowing a speaker at that event wearing a candidate shirt that was not supported by the union, and by allowing into a tent that was paid for with our COPE funds, yes on recall signs. And to those that doubt me, I have photos of what I'm talking about. And the board of directors has called a meeting because they're concerned about these kind of actions. When's it going to happen? Thank you.
So let me hold on. You've talked, and so now I'm gonna have to stop you. So put him on mute, please. So let me address Michael Gus. Number one, we enforce our contract. We don't want to see anyone lose their jobs while represented by Local 1000. That's the first thing. Second thing, on our mission statement, I'm looking for it on the wall, our mission statement. I thought we had it on the wall here, the mission statement. It talks about ensuring that all Californians, not just, quote, dues paying members of this union. That's the second thing. Third thing, COPE money was not used for the rally. The rally was paid through the issues PAC. See, I talked about the PAC money earlier, but he missed that part of the conversation. Here's the fourth thing. There was a person, a retired prison warden, and Hunter Angel, he had on a shirt. He was there to talk about the importance of keeping CCC open. He's an American. He can wear any shirt he wants any time of the day. Okay? And when he made that comment about the recall, I quickly got on stage and said, well, nope, that's not what we're doing. Local 1000, we have taken an official position to oppose the recall. I was quick to do that. But maybe, Michael, you missed that part, but it's all on video. So when the board is trying to force an unneeded, unwarranted emergency meeting because they want to strip me of all my powers and everything, because they can't respect the election results, because I was voted in not just by certain DLCs, but I was voted by the entire dues paying membership of Local 1000. So when you talk about respect, well, first of all, the board couldn't give me the respect when I had the emergency meeting on July 6th. They couldn't give me that respect then. They told me right then how they felt. And then they followed that up after they had sent the police to my house on May 25th, when you want to talk about respect. So do me a favor, Michael Gus, miss me with all that respect stuff. Don't ever try to come on here and try to come for me talking that nonsense. And all those other lies they talked about at that rally saying that I called the police on somebody. I never called the police on nobody, Michael Gus, or any of you other so-called Facebook wannabe know-it-all leaders. Kumbaya, kumbaya. Let's move on. Joseph Ortega.
Good evening,
Good
Richard.
evening, Joseph.
Just real quick, I know this has been a topic of conversation. I work at CMF. I'm a registered nurse. About the COVID rescue hazard pay. I know that you've been talking about it and wanted to reach out to the governor and no response. And I know a couple meetings back, there was comment that we're not aware of any unions that has received that or is going to receive it. Well, CPOA, the correctional officers, are expecting two checks of a total of $5,000 in the next 4 months. So I just wanted you aware of that. And that's what I want to bring to the table tonight.
Okay, sir, listen, I know people have mixed feelings about this. I'm being informed that no one is getting that federal worker, essential worker premium pay. And that's what I'm being informed. Whatever deal that CCPOA or any other union is doing, that's doing their contract negotiations, but it has nothing to do with that federal money. And that's what I'm being informed by the union. That's what I'm being informed by Local 1000, by our staff. All right. Angela Pruitt. Good evening, Angela.
Hey, how you doing, Richard?
I'm doing just great. How are you?
Good. I'm fine, thank you. Hey, I got a question. So I know we got talking a lot about the DLCs and this and that and what they're supposed to be doing. What happens when you got a DLC president that doesn't have any interaction? You don't know who they are, never seen their faces, never got a phone call. They don't have an agenda. They don't tell us anything. And don't they have some type of responsibilities? I hear that they're supposed to reach out to their members and, you know, get to know them and have an input and have, none of that is going on with my DLC. And then when you put in for a position, they tell you they got somebody else in mind. Those positions aren't filled. The DBER position, no VP, DLC, no secretary, no treasurer. I mean, don't they have some type of accountability that they should be, you know, interacting more with their members, telling your members something, meet your members? I mean, that's ridiculous. Why have a DLC president if they don't do jack?
Well, I'm glad you called in, Angela, and asked that question. The DLC presidents and the bunk chairs have a responsibility to communicate to everyone that they're, you know, either been voted in or the people within their area. The great thing about Local 1000, we have a transparent website. That was supposed to be one of my wins that I'm supposed to talk about, you know. We have a transparent, open website. And so you can go on the website because the staff worked around the clock. They put up with me rushing them. So you go to our website, you can click on the area that you're in, and bam, you'll see who your president. You'll see, is the whole e-board put up? Is it just the DLC president? I can't remember. Okay, so we know the DLC president is up. So you can email the DLC president. Now, some people say, well, I want to call him. The phone numbers for some DLC presidents are up there. Some DLC presidents ask to have their numbers removed. Even though some of the DLC presidents have phones issued by Local 1000, so those numbers should not have been removed. But, who's checking, right? So you can contact your DLC president through email, or you can call him or her. They do have a responsibility to you. And if you keep sending them emails and they refuse to respond to you, then you should let me know. And then I'll send them an email to get them to respond to you. The DLC presidents are supposed to represent the people in their area, so that when they make decisions on their DLC, when they make votes in that board, they're supposed to be representing the people of their DLC. Now here's where it gets tricky, Angela, and then I'll go to the next caller. I was voted by all the dues paying members across all the DLCs. And they say, well, how do we know, Richard, that everything you say or do is being endorsed? Because I had a 10-point platform and a brochure that no one else had. I had a 10-point, not a 6-point, a 10-point platform. So everyone who voted for me across all the DLCs, they knew what they were voting for. They knew what I was going to do before I did it. It was clear. Now, the DLC presidents, I don't remember them running on platforms. I don't. So they need to contact their people to find out what they're going to do and how they're going to vote on the board. Some of the DLC presidents ran unopposed and have been running unopposed for years. But yet the people in those DLCs don't even know who these presidents are. And that is why I was asked, since the day I started and finally I woke up, and the survey went out a few days ago. You can hold your DLC president or bunk chair accountable, because you can best believe this board is going to hold me accountable. But everybody knows this war that we're in right now, because they can't respect the vote, the people voting to put me in office, because they said I just got lucky, only got 33% of the vote. And so when people say, well, people in Lassen County, they can't respect the vote of Governor Gavin Newsom winning in 2018. What we know is this in this country: when people vote, things happen. And so, when people point their fingers, usually, it doesn't matter what party you belong to, that finger can be pointed from either direction. So, but you can hold your DLC president accountable, him or her. Yes, you can. All right, next caller. DLC 770 President Nicole Solovskoy. Good evening,
That's
Nicole.
enough, Richard. Good evening. Thank you for taking my call this afternoon. And I just want to make a couple of comments. One, I did not include myself in the board that made that decision for your rights to be removed. Secondly,
you're
welcome. I'm a brand new DLC president, and I just wanted to comment on the lady that didn't know who her DLC president was. I am trying. My last DLC president gave me no training. It was a sticky situation, and I'm learning, as well as my board, on how to do our jobs. And if you are in my DLC, please send me an email and I will get back to you. And there was something else, but I don't remember. So I'm going to leave it at that, but I do appreciate you speaking with me today. And I guess that's it. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you for calling DLC 770 President Nicole. I know I butchered her last name, so I won't try it again. And hopefully, Nicole, you got a return email today and that you was not put off. All right, so we'll move to the next caller. And thanks for the call, Nicole. Betty Jackson Stewart. Good evening, Betty.
Hi, Richard. How are you this evening?
I'm doing just great.
I'm glad to hear it. I have a concern in this forum tonight. I recently, I saw a letter, and the letter that I saw, I read it completely, and it was about Mr. Kevin Healy attempting to bribe one of the union people, I'm not going to say her name, But wanting her to go against you, he asked her in that letter to go against you, and that they really needed her assistance to go against you so that they could relinquish you of your power, that you would remain in your seat, but you would be relinquished of your power, and that she stood the opportunity to gain money from this. And I mean, people get on here and jump on you all day long. I know there are more people than just I who read that letter. She called Kevin Healy out by name. She didn't name anyone else. She named him. And either she's a nutcase or something's wrong with Kevin. And by any means, I just want to know what can be done about situations like that when people are over here plotting and planning against the president. I mean, I thought something was way off with me when the police came to your home, and I just felt like that had something to do with the way it was going to turn out. At any event, I believe the person who contacted the police felt that you were going to be wouldn't be able to show up for a while as the president, and they could utilize that against you. Okay, so that did not work. Now we're plotting and planning to take your powers away. What is this about, Richard? I mean, in the letter, she well conveys the incident that took place. It is very well documented. And so there's a lot going on in this union that people are not jumping on this telephone discussing. They're discussing other things that just rhetoric gossip, but they're not discussing what's really going on. Why is that being, why are they sweeping that under the rug? Kevin should be called out for that. And if he didn't do it, he should be made to explain why he didn't do it and gets us to believe him, because I believe he did do it. And I'm just saying. And now I'm gonna get off. I have a bad feeling about Kevin Healy, at the great lengths he will go through. And I just wonder what's next. If this doesn't work, what is he gonna do next? I just wanted to say that. Thank you for your time.
All right. I'm so glad that you called in, Betty Jackson Stewart. You've asked some great questions about DLC 752 President Kevin Healy. I'm sure he has his opinion, and the person that brought this to my attention, I'm sure that person has her opinion as well. I want to go back to what you said really quickly about the cops coming to my house on May 25th. I have not forgotten that. That told me right then my union was not for me. And they were hoping that I would lose my life. And so I've been fighting since the time I walked up in here. And I'll be fighting when I walk up out of here as well. But you know what? I want everybody to hear this tonight on September 15th, 2021. You got the right one. If you're looking for a fight, you got the right one. If you walk up on me, bring some friends with you. And I'm not trying to sound presidential. I'm telling you, I'm fighting for my life. If you don't like how I get down, you don't like the tone of my voice, you were never for me to begin with. But they try to take my life from me. And then they tried to keep from swearing me in. Then they made me wait all those hours before they swore me in. Then, now they've told me some racist, homophobic statements. DLC 786, President Teresa Taylor. And now you're trying to strip me of all my powers. See, this is the kind of nonsense and hypocrisy is the union I belong to. You think I'm gonna be quiet about it? Wrong answer. You don't think I can handle these situations and handle this COVID and this telework and this further worker, essential worker premium pay? Think again. You got the right one. If you're looking for a fight, you've got one. I am not backing down from none of you so-called individuals. None of you. You don't like my passion? Kick rocks. You want to get on Facebook and lie and say I paid Tony Owens all that money? That's a lie. You want to say I called the cops on the protesters at the August 27th rally? That's a lie. You want to say I'm misspending union resources? That's a lie. You lie and you lie and you lie, and then you want to say, when I check you, when I get at your ass, now you want to have a problem. You get on behind my face with that. You got the right one. I'm telling you this. You looking for a fight? Here I am. 3225 43rd Street. You brought the cops. No, you come to my house yourself. Don't send the cops to my house. You show up at my house if you're looking for some action. Okay? You're not going to punk me. You're not going to bully me. I will not be intimidated. Not by you, not by the state of California. No one will intimidate Richard Lewis Brown. And I mean that. Next caller, DLC 772 President Mary Dela Cruz.
Good evening,
Mary.
Richard. Hi, thank you so much
Good
for
evening.
taking my call. I just kind of, number one, want to thank you for the Survey Monkey that went out. And my question is, this is high time overdue. I'm a DLC president, and I welcome the check and balances for someone and to be held accountable for someone asking the members, you know, what, hey, is anybody reaching out to you? When's the last time someone spoke to you? When's the last time? Because, you know, Richard, for decades, DLC presidents have not been voicing the voice of their members. And I can speak for some of the, you know, the young man, it was Steve Alari. He's bargaining unit 1. I have bargaining unit 1 people. And as you come up and down the state, Richard, please visit some of the prisons south of Fresno, because I'm telling you, I got bargaining 1 people that wear black on Wednesdays because they've told me they've been employed by the state for over 10 years, Richard, that are bargaining unit 1s. So just to let you know, that have never seen the eyes of the previous bunk chair or the current bunk chair or any representative from bargaining unit 1. And until they see change, they wear black on Wednesdays. And I thought, oh, okay. And I did reach out and I said, hey, whoever, we got representatives up and down the state, we can send somebody. Why haven't we sent someone? So again, I welcome the Survey Monkey, and I think it's going to be all telling, all revealing, because I would like to see SEIU hold all of us accountable, get some teeth in this bite. And if we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, then you know what? We need to be able to remove these DLC presidents, including myself, and any bunk chair that is not speaking the voice of their members. It's time to give the voice back to the members, and let's be straight up. And if their voice is yay or nay, it's not Mary's voice. It is the voice of my members. Whether I choose to support that or not, it's the voice of my members. So thank you for this Survey Monkey. I think we need to continually send those out so we can be able to measure, are we improving? Are we staying the same? Are we getting better? Our work sends those Survey Monkeys out all the time. Excuse me, thank you for that. And you know, just piggyback what Betty Jackson said, you know, out of the 100,000 members that we serve, Richard, I just find it very humorous that out of the 100,000 people, the only person with the superpower to be able to reach out to you to see if you're okay was Kevin Healy. Ain't that something? Maybe it's a coincidence. I am an investigator, but I would find the odds of that happening out of 100,000 people, and knowing what this UAW president had to say about what lengths, and knowing the public record documentation of what the courts said about his demeanor and behavior. You know, let me tell you this, Stevie Wonder would be able to see what's going on here. So thank you very much for all you do. And thank you for taking my call.
DLC 772 President Mary Dela Cruz, thank you for calling in. Let me say this really quickly before I go to the next caller. There's a reason why Sacramento, the police chief, Daniel Hahn, doesn't want to tell me who called. See, there's a reason behind that. There's a reason why they won't tell me, or they won't even let me hear the voice of who called to say that there was a woman screaming in my house on May 25th at 5 o'clock in the morning. There's a reason for that, because they're protecting Local 1000. That's what he's doing. I said it. There's a reason why he won't have a press conference with me, with those 2 officers who didn't stereotype me as a black man in this country. See, he's protecting someone here at Local 1000. That's who he is, Daniel Hahn. Let's move on. E.B. Lynch, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate you taking my call. I want to first say thank you for being a representative of those without voices, because a lot of what you have said and what others have said has been said to me. I am a veteran. I have served over 20 years in the military, and I came to the prison system as a licensed nurse about 10 years ago. And when I got there, I immediately, because I saw some changes that needed to happen, I immediately said, I want to be a union steward. Because as you know, we don't get paid for the work as a steward. But even though I'm a single mother of two children, I said my time needs to be put into this because it's worth it. But I heard from all of the people that I was trying to represent that they don't believe our union cared. So why are they paying dues when they don't get information? They're not told when things are happening. They're not told why. They're not a part of the union. They're basically, most of the union people that they knew were for management. And so my hope, my vision, my dream is to change that. And I went away for military reasons and came back and immediately started calling, started asking questions because it got worse while I was gone. And now we have a new DLC president who I recently spoke to. I was informed that he may be leaving soon. He appointed his officers. From my understanding, no one has really seen our DLC representatives. They don't feel that that the individuals are representing their interests. And it's very hard to continually tell people that I'm supposed to be representing that the SEIU cares when they don't see it from anybody but me. At least that's what I'm told. And I know that internally in our union, there is a lot of upheaval over the vote. I don't know why, because honestly, Mr. Brown, what you said is what I believe all unions have said, that we have to be for the people and we need accountability. And that's regardless of whether we are a union or we are a management system, an employer, whatever. There should be some accountability and some transparency. People need to know where their monies are going. That's only fair. We don't have a problem with that, saying that to our represented voter or those that we voted into office for president and so forth. We should also have that within our union, because we need to be able to let our members know that we are accountable to each other also. We are accountable to you because your money counts, your vote counts. Now, my question, Mr. President, is how is it that we have DLCs that have meetings without ever telling the people? I, as a steward, didn't even know that we had a DLC or DLC meeting. I don't know when it is. I don't know when it was, but there were votes that happened. I wanted to run for office because I want to be a change. I want to make a change. And yet all the positions got voted on without me even knowing that there was a meeting happening. So if I didn't know as a steward, how do our members know? How do they get to be able to voice their opinions to the DLC leadership if they don't even know when the leadership is meeting or even get notes? There should be meeting minutes that are sent to the membership of that DLC. So I'd like to find out from you, Mr. President, why that happens and how do we change it? How do we vote people out that have already been voted in or appointed in the DLC? Thank you.
So to be very brief, all the DLC presidents should be contacting everyone within their DLC. And you should have known when there was a meeting. If you didn't know in the meeting, you should contact your DLC president and CC me and find out why he or she did not contact you. And then you should, make sure you communicate to everyone within your DLC what your DLC president is doing. So the same action they're trying to take against me, here's the truth. I don't care for recalls, but sometimes you have to recall. And you hear people on Facebook saying they're trying to recall me. That's what it is. They want to recall me. But sometimes when people are trying to recall you, sometimes the tables turn on them, and then sometimes they get recalled. All right. But you have my email address. You can always contact me. Everybody has my phone number, 408-207-2339. Thank you for your call, ma'am. All right, next caller, Craig Nelson.
Hello, Mr. Brown. I'm very disconcerted by a lot of the defamation that's going on against Kevin Healy there by people on this call. I hope you give him time to respond to this. Plus, you have since taken down the defamation that has been put on the website at Local 1000. And this brings up why your disrespect for the board of directors is so concerning to a lot of the members, and why you haven't called the emergency meeting that they demanded in the last 30 days twice with a majority vote of the board. And all you did with the past board meeting was air your grievances for an hour and a half and disrespect the time of the board. When are you going to call the meeting? We want it now.
Well, you know what, sir? You can want a lot of things in life. You won't always get what you want. So we responded back to Bill Hall. Maybe you should contact Bill Hall and ask him where the process is. Thanks for your call. Next caller, Denise Quinn Allen.
Hello, Richard. I just want to compound what Craig was just talking about, and I'm curious to know when you're going to respond to the request from the board to have a meeting, but you've already answered that, so we won't waste time. What I'd more like to know about is regarding the Lassen County expenses. I'm wondering if you can share how much that costs to charter the buses, to pay the mayor of the town to come, to transport the two CalPERS candidates that you're endorsing to come, all of that. And if you could kind of give us a breakdown of how that was paid for, were member dues paid for that?
Right.
And also if you could tell us how many members, because based on the count that's out right now, it would be per member, we spent about $1,200 to $1,500 per member just for this. And that's,
so
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Oh, okay. So I was told it was a range between 50 to 70,000. I don't have the exact number. Number two, we didn't pay the mayor of Lassen to come down or anyone to come down. We didn't pay anyone a speaking fee or whatever that you're asking for. And I guess my third thing is, when you're asking about this money and stuff, I didn't hear you asking these questions when $1 million went to SEIU State Council to help this current governor fight his recall. So all these questions that you're asking now, you weren't asking these questions before. Let's move on. Vincent Green. Oh, I'm sorry. Bobby Dalton Roy. Go ahead, Bobby. Bobby Dalton Roy. All right, next caller, Vincent Green. And we're going to end this on Vincent Green.
Hello, Mr. President.
Vincent Green.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you for taking my call. A couple things, and I hope that you just stay with me for a few minutes if you can. I really appreciate it. But I just want to address a couple things. And the first thing is to Miss Betty Jackson Stewart and what she basically asked. And I think the proper response to Betty would be to familiarize yourself with the policy file as much as you can. The policy file is our North Star. This is how we conduct business. And whether or not we are successful will depend on how we follow that policy file. Now, that does not mean that the policy file should not be changed. That's a different conversation. But we should at least adhere and line up to what the policy file says today. And if it needs to be changed, there are processes for that. So to Betty, in answering her question, look at what the policy file says. If you have an issue with it, figure out what the policy file says so you know exactly how to correctly address the issues that you may be having. That is the first thing. The second thing that I would turn around and say is, Mr. President, other than the telework survey, I have not received your surveys. I have not received them. I have not gotten them. You know, you have my email addresses, and I have not received them. As far as the DLC presidents and anything else that you've sent, I haven't received a survey since August. August 3rd, I believe, is when you did the telework survey. So, you know, I think that, you know, with anybody else that has missed it, I think your data is going to be a little bit skewed because it hasn't included everybody, which it should be if we are talking about total transparency. Okay. Third point, and then I will end in case somebody else wants to speak. I would appreciate a private conversation with you out of respect for your position. And the reason why I say that this way is because there has been several times that you have invoked Jesus Christ in what you say. So if you're talking about it around Matthew or Mark, and I can actually give you the scripture if you give me a little bit of time, but it says that if I have an ought, which means a complaint against my brother, then I am to go to him in private first. Okay. And then if he doesn't receive me, then I'm supposed to take somebody with me to continue the conversation. If I'm still not received, then I'm to take it before the church. Now, I realize that this isn't church, and I realize this is not Sunday school, but I'm going to apply the same principles of Christ and the Bible that you have applied and say, look, I want to have a conversation with you first before I actually turn around and have an open forum conversation with you about what I might see that is wrong. And to everybody out there, I would suggest that that is fair. That is fair. We have an issue, go to that person first. If not, take somebody with you so that you can actually basically see if what you're saying and what you're talking about is true. Because you know what? In the heat of the moment, we all make mistakes. I make mistakes. Richard makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But we owe it to ourselves and out of respect for one another. And even out of the love of Jesus Christ. And I say that, Richard, because you invoke that all the time. So I'm asking you to give me a call, not wait on my phone call. I need you to give me a call at your earliest convenience. Whatever your schedule is, I will make myself available to you because I know how busy you are. So if you would do that for me, I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time, and I thank you for taking my call.
Okay, so I want to thank Vincent Green for calling in. That's going to wrap up this evening. I know we have some people who've already spoke, and we're going to wrap up this evening. I know a lot of people have some strong opinions about Local 1000, particularly because I'm the president. I want you to keep your strong opinions. I really do. I want you to do what you got to do. Be you. See, I haven't really been myself. But listen to this word, because we're going to create a new culture for Local 1000. But I haven't really been myself. That's going to change. I'm done talking. Make it a great night. Thank you.